Dobar dan. Crna Gora, tačnije naša najsjevernija opština, domaćin je vojne vježbe Immediate Response 23, na kojoj učestvuje više od 500 pripadnika vojske Crne Gore, Sjedinjenih Američkih Država, ali i Hrvatske. O značaju te vojne vježbe, ali i višegodišnjoj saradnji sa odbrambenim sistemom Sjedinjenih Američkih Država, razgovaramo danas sa komandantom nacionalne garde Maina, general majorom Douglasom Farnhamom. Mr. Farnham, thank you for your time and thank you for agreeing to do this interview.
It's great to be here, Tiana.
So, as I said, Montenegro is one of several Balkan states which is currently hosting Immediate Response 23 military exercise. What has this exercise showed to you when it comes to our capabilities and our capacities?
Well, first of all, I think Montenegro Armed Forces should be very proud of what they've been able to accomplish during Defender Europe 23. I mean, starting with the logistic reception in Bar a few weeks ago, where 4 countries brought their equipment through Bar and it was staged and moved forward. You know, starting with that, and then being able to participate in 4 separate countries, and at the same time be able to host exercises right here in Montenegro, where our soldiers are working side by side, working search and rescue issues, engineering issues, and just a great experience for all.
And what did our maybe our special or our, well, let's call them our soldiers, what did they show in this exercise?
Well, the first thing is a willingness to learn, a willingness to cooperate, and that's really what these exercises are all about, is cooperation and learning. And for our main soldiers to work shoulder to shoulder with our partners from Montenegro, it's a great experience for the main Army National Guard as well.
Would you like to point out to something which we could do better, maybe?
Well, you know, I think that the people that do the after-action reports are better left to the lessons learned. But that's the wonderful thing about these exercises. There always are lessons learned. Mm-hmm. And the fact that Montenegro is participating at such a large level and significant and important level will mean that there are plenty of lessons to be learned, and they'll get those lessons from a lot of different sources, including themselves.
And Montenegro's ministry and main National Guard have been partners since December 2006. And I remember back when we celebrated 15 years of our partnership, you said that the 2 states have been through a lot. So maybe you can tell us, because things have changed. We have war in Ukraine, we have different situations. What did that partnership mean back then? What does it mean now?
Well, for the early years of the partnership, especially the first 10 years up until the accession to NATO, the partnership was focused from Maine's perspective on helping Montenegro get assessed to NATO. It was a goal for both of us to get to that point. Once the accession happened in 2017, the partnership changed a little bit, where now it was more of a collaborative, cooperative, let's learn together type of operation, where we could focus on individual things like search and rescue, like medical treatments, like cyber, like engineering projects. And so we went from being a let's follow the NATO playbook and get ready to assess NATO to, hey, let's look around and see what are the strengths of the main soldiers, what are the strengths of the main Air National Guard, and how can we work together and be mutually beneficial to each other.
And how was Montenegro beneficial, we as a small system, how were we beneficial in this partnership?
Well, anytime that you're helping somebody else decide what priorities are or what is important, what we have to work on, you have no choice but to look at yourself a little bit and say, what can we do to become better? What can we do to become better teachers? What can we do to be better partners? What can we do to be better leaders? And so our soldiers and airmen have had incredible experiences doing that, let alone being able to talk to counterparts who become friends about the world stage, about everything is not about us. It's about a much bigger picture and understanding that we have shared values. I mean, that's the whole idea of NATO and the European Union is shared values. And I think for a young soldier in the small state of Maine to talk to a soldier in a small country like Montenegro and understand so many things are common about our lives, about our families, about our goals, about what we think is important, it's an incredible experience for all.
It's really interesting to me when you're saying about the similarities between Montenegrin and US soldier. So what are some similarities between the two of them?
Well, I think primarily, like I said before, when you talk one-on-one with somebody from Montenegro, who 15 years ago we didn't even know where Montenegro was on the map, and you realize the common values. We have members that now know the families of their counterparts in Montenegro, have watched their kids grow up, and so to see those common, again, going back to the common values, understanding that, being closer to understanding what freedom is all about, and understanding what professionalism means. Those are the types of things that are common to anybody that wears the uniform. Understanding the importance of patriotism and seeing the flag and representing your country on a daily basis. Those are things that are common between anybody that puts on the uniform. So to be able to share that experience is incredibly important.
Yeah, and I'm curious, there are, I assume, many things, but what did Montenegro get from this cooperation? What would be some main things which we learned?
Well, I think that, early on it was understanding what it meant to be able to be assessed by NATO. Taking the lessons, the values, basically what the importance of NATO and what NATO means to the rest of the world, and being able to understand that better, understanding that there's a checklist and there's a process and the rule of law and how you are a good partner and what you need to add to the partnership. I think that is what Montenegro received out of it. It was a helping hand, and I think hopefully looking and talking to people and understand why it was important to be part of the team.
And what would be some of the main achievements, overall achievements of this cooperation? What are some things you would like to point out? Well,
I think that, again, the relationships that have been built over the years from, multi-generational soldiers and airmen to people that they now call their friends. But then you go the next level, and back in September of 22, when there was a cyber intrusion in Montenegro that affected government services, and in a very short period of time we got 18 Air and Army Guard soldiers over here to help. And because there was already trust built as partners, we were able to step in and make some, and I think contribute to the recovery and planning for how we prevent those types of things in the future. And a lot of that was directly attributable to the relationships and the partnerships that had that were prior to the actual events of September 22.
Mm-hmm. That is really something which is which is concrete, which is something Montenegro benefited from. But what are overall benefits of this cooperation, maybe for two regions or for the entire region?
Sure. Well, I think that with you mentioned earlier, the world has changed a little bit since we became partners, and with the recent Russian invasion of Ukraine, I think the value of partnership, the value of having partners, is what sets us apart, which sets the West apart, which sets NATO apart. Is that we're among teammates. NATO is a strong team, and Montenegro is an equal partner in that. Montenegro has a voice at the table on the team that stands for freedom and democracy and the rule of law, and I think that's important to Montenegro, as it is to the United States.
And are there some plans, some future plans, how to maybe strengthen this cooperation?
Oh, we're always talking about how we can do better in ways that can be mutually beneficial. We always are talking about helping strengthen leadership capabilities and interoperability and communication with the partners. Of course, cyber will continue to be an important effort that we have going forward as far as planning on the future systems and helping install the future systems. We will continue to work on search and rescue operations with our pilots, our helicopter pilots from Maine, working with helicopter pilots here in Montenegro. We will continue to work on medical treatments and medical resources, as well as engineering projects. The engineers always like to get out and get dirty and have projects, so that's something that we enjoy doing.
And maybe we can end this conversation with some overall remark about the current security situation in the region. We already said things have changed. We have war ongoing in Ukraine. I think it's just the tip of the iceberg. So how do you assess a current security situation? And maybe we can talk a little bit about that. How did it affect the importance of NATO membership?
Right. Well, I think that the war in Ukraine has opened a lot of folks' eyes. General Cavoli has said several times that hard power is a deterrent, and hard power comes from, combat-ready forces. I think that that is more than just paying, paying the right amount of money for defense. It's more than that. It's being able to exercise and being a credible deterrent. General Lazarevic has said many times that Montenegro is committed to the deter and defend role of NATO. And like I said before, when you're part of a team, when we rely on partnerships, that's the strength. That's the strength of NATO. That's the strength of the West, and the strength of the EU is that we are partners. We have common values, and you can do a lot of different things. But when you have common values, you can have disagreements. You can have a lot of different things go sideways. But the common values make a big difference, and I think that's what Montenegro is able to show the world. That they've got the common values that want to be part of this team.
Thank you for that message, Mr. Farnham, and thank you for your time once again. Dakle, za agenciju MINA govorio je general major Douglas Farnham. Ovaj i ostale video sadržaje možete pogledati na našem YouTube kanalu. Ja vas pozivam i da najnovije vijesti iz zemlje i svijeta pronađete na našem portalu MINA News. Do gledanja.